News for the vacationer and the business traveler on CNN Travel Guide with Bella Shaw.
Hello. About 100 years ago, this country started undergoing some major population shifts. With the advent of the railroad and the pioneer spirit alive and well, young men and women went west. What they found there was an untamed land filled with hardship, but also with challenge. Today, we'll take a look at some of the states that are reliving their early days this year. We start in Oklahoma, which is marking the centennial of the great land run of 1889.
For hundreds of years, the Plains Indians were the main inhabitants of the area that is now Oklahoma. By the 1830s, they had been joined by other tribes following the Trail of Tears from the southeast. Then, in the late 1880s, the white man came to this land of wilderness and beauty in droves. In 1889, President Benjamin Harrison proclaimed the unassigned lands of the Oklahoma Territory open for white settlers. Homesteaders would be allowed to stake their claims on or after April 22nd. Those who tried to come earlier didn't get away with it. These Sooners were quickly escorted out of the territory. On the designated day, the 89ers came. In all, 50,000 men and women flocked to the central part of the territory. And by nightfall, major settlements like Guthrie and Oklahoma City had sprung up. The same year, some struck it rich with the drilling of the first oil well. It was the beginning of something big for Oklahoma, as the state staked much of its fate on black gold for a long while. In the 1980s, though, oil is no longer king, and the state is relying more and more on tourism to bring in the bucks. That's why the state is capitalizing on the historic events of 1889 with centennial celebrations. Most of the action will take place in April in the 100-year-old cities of Guthrie, Stillwater, Kingfisher, Norman, and Oklahoma City. There will be reenactments of the land run, parades, centennial horse shows, and arts festivals. Oklahoma was named after the Indian. The word means red man. So it's appropriate that the original inhabitants of the area are being remembered during this important year. 100 Indian tribes are expected to participate in Oklahoma City's Red Earth Festival in June. The festival honors all aspects of Native American culture. The special centennial events, along with the state's natural attractions, will make Oklahoma an okay place for a tourist land run, 1989 style.
Travelers of the 1980s are finding out what the pioneers of the 1880s knew all along. When it comes to natural beauty and adventure, the West has it all. Nature is still king in these parts, despite man's frequent attempts to tame it. Things haven't changed much from 100 years ago, when the Northwest was carved up into states.
From the sweep of the high plains to the Rockies towering beyond, the Northwest Territory exerted a pull that pioneers couldn't resist. By the thousands, they poured into a region they described as high, wide, and handsome. But by the late 1800s, that corner of the country was being carved into states. Washington, Montana, South Dakota, and North Dakota joined the Union in 1889. Idaho and Wyoming followed 1 year later. Together, the six are celebrating the Northwest Centennial, 1989-1990. Now, their total population is about the same as New York City. That means there's plenty of room for tourists, and the Centennial states are ready for them. Here's a look at what's on the calendar.
Watch for Wyoming and Idaho to start celebrating their 1990 centennials later this year. For more on any of these Western celebrations, contact the tourist office in each state's capital city. Coming up in our next segment, no snow means no go for ski bunnies in the Wolverine State. We'll be right back.